Welcome back. This is your opportunity to ask any questions. Okay, so as you can see at the bottom of the screen, you've got your chat function. And if you'd like to post any question to us, we'll be happy to answer them. So we'll just give you a quick few seconds to type up some comments, some questions, and then myself or Jill will answer them. So the first question we've got here is, what is the difference between a HNC and a HND? I'll let Jill explain that one.
Thank you, James. Well, a HNC and a HND really form the same part of a qualification suite, really. So the HNC is the first year, which is a level 4 of a HND. Some people choose to study just a HNC, which is 1 year at level 4, but the majority of students now are studying a HND, which leads them either to progress onto a degree, top up, or finish with a level 5 and then go to employment. The college tends to advertise on the websites the HNDs, but when students are invited for a one-to-one interview, should they only want to do a HNC, which is a level 4 year, we also offer that option. James, yours is slightly different because you offer a foundation degree. Would you like to clarify what that is?
We do a foundation degree, which is a 2-year course. So learners will come in from level 3. They will join us. They're working at foundation degree level. As I said, it's a 2-year course. Your first year is kind of your foundations to understanding the difference between level 3 and obviously moving from further education through to higher education. So it's a 2-year course. And again, the fundamentals start off with your knowledge being built. And then as you progress into your second year, it's more that criticality and the application of the learning. And then obviously it follows through into your degree.
And the second question here that says, do you need to study a HNC before you can do an HND? And really the answer is yes, in the way that the HNC is the level 4. So you would either study that as a standalone qualification and then maybe want to come back and then complete it, or to continue on and do your HND. Whereas James was talking about the foundation degree, and that's a 2-year commitment, but both at the same level. I hope that answers it. Do we have any more, James?
Yeah. Can I still get student finance if I choose to study a degree at college?
Yes, absolutely. All of the higher education qualifications are funded through Student Finance England, no matter where you study them. So you can get exactly the same tuition fees and maintenance loan to support you with your study at college.
Right, another good question here. Is there provision for travel when studying higher education at college?
Well, I would say we're usually a local providers, and our timetable is usually either 1 day a week or 2 days a week, which supports our students really if they don't want to move away to afford travel. We also have access to a hardship fund if students experience and need additional funding through grants. So there are grants that you can seek regionally and locally to support you, but the college do also hold their own Be Brilliant fund, which supports students, and a hardship fund. So should it need to be, then yes, there is.
Brilliant. That's just answered somebody else's question as well there about bursaries and grants. I can tell you from my experience, we've had a learner with a particular disability, and we was able to access grants to help him, obviously with his college course, but it actually led into his training as well. He was a very passionate swimmer, high caliber swimmer as well. And so, he found that it was excellent to support him with his learning whilst, pursuing his career goal alongside his educational goal. So we've got another.
Oh, sorry, I thought that come from the student disability grants.
Yes. Yeah. So there's lots of options open. Again, the most important thing to do is obviously when you're applying for the course and when you get to meet your tutor or meet one of the course coordinators, is to really explain your situation so that the person can get a real good grasp of what it is you need, and then we can support you through the process. Okay. So another question, how can I find out about companies you have connections with for jobs after I finish studying a course?
Oh, well, I would say it's not after you're finishing the course, it's prior to and during the course. So colleges have lots of links with employers across all of their provision. We have a dedicated employer manager who engages across with all of our employers in our region, from solicitors, from food, from manufacturing, engineering, NHS, health and social care, schools. We have an excellent relationship with employers. We've had an employer, Albert Bartlett's, who supported one of our students to gain a paid internship with them, and then that led to a full-time job. So our employers are seeking continuous development with us, and actually our focus for 2021 is about building building stronger relationships than we already have with our employers, because we know our students come to us because it's career related qualifications, and that's what they want, is about how do I do this and how does it get me develop with my career. What employer links do you have, James?
Well, we've got lots of different employer links and connections, but I think one of the important things is our degree is created in a way where the learners will gravitate towards the employer of their choice. So for instance, as they create, say for instance, a dissertation or a report or assessment, some of the units in there lead to work experience. So some of them are very thematic around the industry. And with that, the learner will be able to start working with those employers to gain information, to get their foot through the door. With obviously our final unit being a work experience unit, which places somebody in an organisation, again, to their setting and to their wants and needs, and obviously their passion. And we have people that might be wanting to go and say dietitian or well-being, or be taking like a sort of like a sports route or a fitness route. It really depends on the individual, so they can manipulate their way through the course. But to give you an example, we work with Boston United, and we might have some learners that want to pursue performance related or working with sports coaching, development, that type of activity. And we've also got the fitness aspect. With fitness, we've been working with local gyms. So we've been working with Energy Fitness, and that's given some of our learners the opportunities to sort of like look at how a business works, which they probably wouldn't necessarily do on other degrees. We've also got the well-being aspect, and we're part of different groups. So we're currently making links with like the NHS at the minute. That's what we're trying to work on and develop those links. So, you know, don't think that these links just stop. As jobs appear and as different organizations create networks, we're working with them to, you know, best showcase our learners and get our learners at the forefront to, you know, in front of an employer.
Oh, that's lovely. So, James, this next question is for you, really, because of your area. What are the sports facilities like at the college?
Right, firstly, they're fantastic. So we've got lots of space here. In the current situation, it's quite needed, but we've got obviously designated fields, AstroTurf, so we've got the space to provide practical activity. However, for the degree, we then got more specific areas. So if we start with our gym, we've got a purpose-built gym with specific equipment that's not just the norm exercises. So yes, we've got free weights, we've got a Smith machine, but we've got equipment on there that you can sort of like gear up to use analysis equipment, such as FitMate Pro. And that allows somebody to analyze the amount of power or tension they're actually using when they're using the equipment. So we've got obviously that area. Within our lab, we've got equipment such as gas analysis. We've got Douglas bags, so a learner can test the amount of oxygen, carbon dioxide they're using when they're exercising to work out, are they burning fat, are they burning glucose. We've got lactate, so we can do blood lactate, so we can test again the amount of lactate within the blood when somebody's exercising. We've got the ability to use a watt bike, which is not nice if you're a learner because it's maximal. So that means you go, Jill, you wouldn't know a lot about this, but this is going maximal. All right. So this is pushing a learner in a safe environment to measure their output. So we can measure VO2 max, lots of different equipment. And then obviously to back that up, we've got Macs, we've got computers, we've got Wi-Fi, we've got iPads, we've got camera facilities. We've got a piece of kit called a VO, which can film learners taking part in exercise, and it can also create a heat map of their activity. It can also record the session, and it's not just necessarily about analysis. It can be looking at people's participation. It can be recording the session to look at their coaching skills as well. You know, not just necessarily analysis. It can be about somebody's personal development, so they can watch it through, and then a tutor can give impact on how they're going to improve. So yeah, when it comes to equipment, yeah, we top the bill on that. And then the last bit is all of our degree learners, HE learners have canteen facilities. Food's so important when you're learning. So, you know, even if people are working in the evening, the provision is there to make sure that learners are fed and catered for. Okay, next question. I'm interested in a course area with a HE and FE pathway. Which one should I take? I'll let you deal with that one, Jill.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say if all of our FE pathways really link to higher education, and that's a really good idea, because thinking about what you want to do at 16 really helps you make your career choices. It's a bit of that balance that you can change your mind in any way you want to, and sometimes careers aren't rigid at 18, and nor should they be. But so, for example, if you want to do engineering, we have a higher education in there. If you want to go into teaching, we do things like early years, which is pathways into education, then into teaching, or A levels opens a range of doors, animal management, all the creative subjects. So you can look and see, and you could use the college website, and it will show you what we do at further education and how that links to higher education. Is there another question? Oh, I see a question about the building. So if I study my degree are based in one building or access to others, so yes, that we have a range of buildings at the college. So in some ways, so our new engineering centre, which was opened last year, which we are fortunate that was a £4 million build, that's a dedicated engineering centre. We have a digital and logistics centre opening in January 2021. And we have an animal centre, and we have a university centre. We have a James's sports area, and we have a performing Sam Newson, which is a performance centre, and we have the Institute for Technology. So within the college itself, you mix with all sorts of different students, but you also get the opportunity to specialise with specialist equipment. That's a complicated sentence. So in the EMAT centre, which is the engineering, there's been an over £100,000 of new equipment brought in. The same with the digital centre. So what we try to do is a bit of both, really, mixing with other students, but dedicating centres to which support your learning and your skills that you need for employment.
Okay, so the next question coming up: does Boston College specialise in any particular subject area? I'll let you answer that, Jill, and then I'll put my take on that.
Well, that's probably how I've talked about really with the new bill. So colleges are usually general FE colleges, which means we support students to access a range of learning, including higher education locally. So as in terms of a whole institution, we don't specialise, but like I talked about, you would now see when we all have a nice normal life, visiting the college would be great, because as you now come into the campus, the engineering centre, the university centre, the logistics and digital centre, and animal management as you come down the drive. So you can see the evolution of centres, of buildings that are dedicated for specific subjects, but not a specific college. James, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, again, with a specialist, if we're looking at sport, we do specialise in sports fitness and well-being, and we specialise in something that's like relative to the area. Granted, it's a national-wide focus, but as I think I mentioned earlier, locally, well-being, it's key. So I would say, yes, we do specialise, but we specialise in different areas, not just as a one specialist college. We specialise in specific areas relative to the area or the environment that we're in.
Okay. Thanks, James.
So next question, are there any subjects you would recommend studying at college rather than going to university?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Because I think that's a really choice about your learning experience and what you want to do and how you want to achieve it. Some students want to leave home and experience the city life, and so some students want to leave home to a near city. Some students want to leave home and go a long way from home. Some parents want their children to leave and go a long way from home for a little while too. But some students don't want to do that for all sorts of different reasons. Maybe they just want to stay local to study. They don't want the commitment of additional accommodation fees. So really, you have to consider yourself as an individual learner in the first instance, what you want out your qualification and what you want in terms of your career. So what we offer at college is high quality, cost-effective learning. So it means that a lot of our qualifications are awards at the University of Derby, which get an exact same qualification of a university, but you haven't had the additional costs of moving away from home and accommodation costs and those sorts of things. So it's more about parity that we have with the university, but making a choice about your learning and what you want from your learning. Is there anything else you want to add to that, James?
Yeah, I think important there is often we judge teaching and learning, or we judge a place by the area. So I went to university. Well, actually, it's the lecturer with a subject specialism that's going to make and shape you. So, you know, that it's really important. I think what you need to do is, you know, see what's available, look at the course, and then look at the people teaching you, really get a feel for what you're after. You know, I know how strong the teaching staff are here within the college and how sort of passionate they are, but that's, you know, they're the skills that you're going to get. They're going to develop you, they're going to enhance you, and they're going to get you ready for the workplace. So I think, you know, a meet and a greet and a chat is probably more important than just choosing a university and an actual topic or a course.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is there any more questions, James?
Yeah, so just one second. We have got, is a degree at college really the same as going to university?
Well, in the way of, there's a lots of yeses and there's lots of
Yeah,
no's, really,
yeah,
isn't there? Because we're not in a city, so we don't have the city life. We don't have thousands of students on the same as some large universities do. So it's different in that way. It's the same as in some areas of gaining the qualification you want for your career goals. So we support that. In some ways, it's because it's smaller, more familiar. You're an individual student in a group of maybe up to 10, 20 or 30 students, which means that can nurture and develop your academic writing skills, your confidence, your career opportunities, your career goals. So not the same, but it can get you to where you want to be in the same way as going to university can. Is there anything you want to add, James?
no, I would totally agree with that. Again, we've spoke about the differences. I mean, the qualifications are the same. I think the most important thing is that the learning experience is paramount, because the your aspirations and your motivation and your drivers are all going to be brought about by your interaction. So, you know, the group of people on your course will impact on that. Your subject lecturers, their specialisms, they're all really going to help on that. So, you know, if you go to university, you could argue that you might not get as much interaction with your lecturing staff. Therefore, it could inhibit the amount of motivation or aspiration you get. We have a lot smaller groups here, so it's strong. But then there are the flip side to being at university. You might have some lifelong lessons about looking after yourself, you know, looking after your dorm, washing. So it depends what you want from it.
It definitely does depend on what you want. And I would say now's a great time to start attending virtual open evenings until we can come back face to face. And as soon as as institutions are all face to face and we have welcome and open evenings, which I'm sure in the spring will come, and we've all got to be really positive, that come and have a look at the buildings, talk to the staff, and then you make a really informed choice about what's a significant next step in your career. And higher education is, and we've got it on behind us, about life changing, but it certainly is life changing about, you know, choices, career choices, life choices, and just general experience, really. So it's a decision that needs some thought about and a personal decision, but the college is here to support everybody and welcomes everybody that wants to study with us.
So at the minute, we've got no more questions. So what we'll do, if you obviously want to email or contact, that can be arranged. But for now, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for listening. And obviously, if you need anything, please get in touch with Boston College as soon as possible, and we'll be here to help you. So take care and goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much and goodbye.